Well, as the title suggests, we're going to be doing a little hiatus comic corner. I just want to go back and address some comments. I haven't been really doing a comic corner lately. Take a deep breath. This is going to be our final push after this episode. Episode 1122. We've only got, 14 episodes? As far as I know, maybe 15 if another one has dropped since the last time I looked, but we don't have many left. So, I'm trying to take a deep breath and enjoy this hiatus. You won't notice anything on YouTube. The next day will just be the next episode. But this will be happening before that next episode. So, let's go and get to some comments. I've just collected random comments around here. Few comments from episode 1096 when I talked about like what might happen when I get caught up. And we're going week to week was that the anime, the manga assholes would spoil us. Right? Like, come into my comments spoil me, which, hasn't happened the entire time. I don't know why I'm worried about that. But I brought that up, and a couple people answered, like, Kesmink and Power of Death. They had some comments about that. A year before Gear 5 was out in the anime, a few manga readers would try to spoil the anime watchers everywhere. Gear 5 was the most leaked spoiler in One Piece. Maybe, and I even knew about Gear 5. It was all over Twitter. That's how I knew about it. I saw it on Twitter. It's trending on Twitter. You know how they'll have associated tags like Gear 5, but then also One Piece were together. So I knew Gear 5 was in One Piece. Didn't really understand the context until we got to Gear 2 or Gear 3. And I said, okay, well, we must get up to Gear 5. But I don't feel like knowing there was a Gear 5 was a spoiler because I didn't know what Gear 5 was. Nobody ever talked about it being Looney Tunes. So it worked out. But yeah, even I was spoiled on that. So those manga readers are assholes. Maybe aside from Ace dying, I know was not spoiled on that in Marineford, but I wasn't around for that 15 years ago. Was that really 15 years ago in the manga? Jesus. This really has been a long-running story, hasn't it? My honest thought to the whole thing was when Luffy finally found the One Piece, the manga readers are going to spoil it way more than ever. Yeah, fortunately, I am not on. That was Power Death, by the way, specifically. Fortunately, I'm not on Twitter anymore. And so there's no way for spoilers to reach me unless they come directly into my comments. Or I guess video spoilers might do it. Specifically the title of video or thumbnail or some shit. Now, a couple from Kismet. This one is from every One Piece episode after 1090 has me liking. I showed a little face, right? Quote by Oda about the final saga. When I was a kid, I thought to myself, man, I would love to draw a manga with the most hyped final stage. I wonder if I'm up to it. Well, he certainly was. This dude was aspirational as hell, man. Ambitious. Now we only have a tiny bit of Wano arc left. The preparations are almost done. Took me 25 years, lol. That said, it's fine if you start reading from this point on. Because from this point on, it'll be the One Piece. The mysteries of the world, I'll be drawing all of them. It'll be super interesting. Fasten your seatbelt and please stay with me a bit longer. I'm here for the ride, brother. As long as I'm pushing up, As long as I'm above ground instead of pushing up daisies, I think is what I was trying to say. Alright, and also Kismet talking about, this was from 1096. With every big fan base, there are always going to be those assholes who just spoil sometimes without even realizing it by just even hyping a character, which is why I sometimes prefer the more low-key reaction channels where everyone knows the boundaries. Yeah, I mean, we'll see it on Buffy. There's a pretty mild episode when Spike appears. It's the third episode of season 2, and you think maybe he's just going to be around. He's only supposed to be around for 5 episodes. So they kind of treat him like that. It's a big deal. He killed 2 Slayers. He'll be easily dispatched by our Slayer, and that'll be it, right? They just kind of hung around for the rest of the goddamn series. Because the fan base is like hot men, I guess. Whatever. Fan service ass. Anyway, in reaction channels, whenever he shows up, everybody's like, Spike, 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 Spike. Letting the reaction channel automatically know, hey, this character's going to stick around instead of being killed in 2 episodes. Gee, thanks, you spoiling ass. Don't do that, man. Like, when a new character shows up and they're going to end up being a really big deal, how about you show some cool in the comments? Now, nobody who's watching this, you all are really cool. Like, I'm preaching to the choir here. No, literally nobody who will watch this video that I know of has ever done this. They sure as hell haven't done it on my channel. So I'm more speaking broadly, like if this escapes containment, more people watch it, don't are normally comment on my channel. Y'all some assholes, is what I'm saying. But yeah, man, like they'll do it. Oh my god, Spike's here. Oh my god, there's a dude in French. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's pretty important. The first time he shows up, everybody be in the comments. I'm like, man, shut the hell up. In terms of theories, I'd say the One Piece fans are really passionate about the theories. So personally, I haven't seen anyone really shut down others' theories, like the manga reader, or not. Because you're right, that's half the fun of watching. So hopefully you don't encounter any dicks that start hinting or spoiling. I never knew Kismet had this much swearing in him or her. I like it. I wish more people swore in my comments. Like I've got all the things turned off, right? The censorship. I have all the censorship turned off on my end. Now, hate speech will probably get you automatically your comment automatically deleted without me ever seeing it. But I like swearing, so I like seeing it. And that's a different side. I haven't seen that side to this person before because I remember them. They have a distinctive name. I remember their comments. I also like their avatar, which seems to be a sleepy person. This is also from 1086. Hunter Stone. One of the most popular lines in One Piece is wealth, fame, power. This was said in the narration at the beginning of the series. A lot of people tie this to Cross Guild. Buggy, fame, crocodile. Oh, okay, Jesus. Cross Guild is Buggy. Fame is crocodile. Wealth is Mihawk. No, wait. Buggy is fame. Crocodile is wealth. And Mihawk is power. Cross Guild is the name of their group. Jesus. I don't know why I was struggling with this. I didn't remember the name of their group. So I was trying to make that part of this comment. Anyway. Buggy fame, crocodile wealth, Mihawk power. Feels like a stretch. Crocodile amasses wealth, I guess, but we don't see him spending extravagantly. We don't really see him being obsessed with wealth. Like for instance, we know Big Mom loves candy. She's obsessed with candy. We don't really know that about Crocodile. I think it's a stretch for Crocodile, unless the manga's different. They show him giggling and counting his money or something. The other two make sense, Buggy fame and Mihawk power. So I guess we can put crocodile wealth. But it's probably a stretch. It's probably not intended by the author. This one is from the episode 1100 Q&A I did a couple weeks ago. This is from Hunterstone. The world government can't destroy the One Piece because they don't know where it is. When Luitia was destroyed, we see them cross off the island on the map. Yeah. So you need to know where it is to destroy it. And nobody knows where it is. I thought maybe that might be some information the government has, because obviously the government knows a hell of a lot more than everybody else. Red Eyes, what was I calling him? Black Hood? Black Hood, you would assume, knows more than anybody else in the world. He knows a lot of answers to a lot of secrets. Do you think he knows where the One Piece is? Probably not, or like I said, they would have destroyed it. So yeah, I guess that tracks. That does make sense. HIG, this is from episode 1114. Do you know what else is special about these episodes? The manga chapters that these episodes adapt were coming out when you were just starting to watch One Piece, in the first half of 2023. Crazy. So they're adapting things that was coming out when I first started reacting. I really like that. What you're watching may seem recent because the anime only adapted those chapters recently, but in the manga, we're 2 years ahead. Currently, the anime is approximately 50 chapters behind the manga. So we shouldn't have to worry about another goddamn hiatus anytime soon, right? Right? Bastards. I am traumatized by the idea we're going to get another effing hiatus, man. Not looking forward to it. Okay, this is another one from Kismet, episode 1116. Respect for Buggy went up after this because after being messed up by Mihawk and Croc, he still stood on business talking about wanting to claim the One Piece and sparking hope in everyone. Yeah, I think I said this at the time. I agree. Why don't any of these damn comments have hearts? I don't know. I know, it has me like thumbs up in it, so why would I just give it a heart at the same time? That doesn't make any sense. You don't care. Anyway, the point is, I say at the time, he isn't a bitch. Like, which is weird because he is constantly fearful. And he's constantly afraid, and he does seem to be motivated by fear. But he will stand up to people if pushed into a corner. That's kind of like the difference between, like, say, okay, you're chasing a mouse. You chase him in the corner, he's got nowhere to run, he's going to turn and fight. It don't matter who you are. Whether you're a person or a cat, he's going to turn on you. Now, he's going to lose, but he's going to turn on you. But there are some people in the world, human beings, sentient human beings, who can override the survival instinct that we naturally have as animals. Their mind overrides the body. There are some people who, when they reach the corner, will just curl up into a ball and either beg for mercy or just wait for the end. There are people who will not turn and fight when they're chased into a corner. Those people exist. In the show and outside the show, they exist. And Buggy is not one of those people. I think, first of all, he's saying, just go ahead and kill me. I think if he had an opportunity to fight, he would. Yeah, he's completely outmatched by these people, but I don't think that matters. I think he would still fight. So, you know, like, we gotta say that for him. I don't like the son of a bitch, but you gotta give him that much, right? Now, there's a really good comment. I can't quote it all because it's really long, and I don't understand how to say the Japanese letters being described here. But Odin Ray, in episode 1038, has a really good comment talking about how you spell Luffy in Japanese, using Japanese characters and all this stuff. And so I talked about how, like, I had heard that you couldn't actually spell Luffy in Japanese. And Odin Ray is talking about there is a way to do it and exactly what that is. It's a very detailed comment. Like I said, go to episode 1038 because it's a great comment. I love it. So, you know, but I can't speak Japanese, so I can't really get into the details. But it's really cool. I like it. This is a great comment from episode 1120 from HIG. So in this episode, we learned that the power Emu used on Luitia has to do with the mother flame that Vegapunk created. So the destruction of Luitia might not be directly related to any of Emu's powers, which is an interesting point. I think I was circling around this, but I don't think I actually got to that point. So I'm glad you brought this up. It may simply be a weapon. And I think you're probably right. I think that's exactly what it is. Also, we learned in this episode that Emu chose the kingdom of Luitia because it was physically close to the Island of the Gods, whatever, the Maripole, whatever it's called. Not for any other reason. So Sabo being near the island at that moment was pure coincidence, although you can headcanon that Sabo chose to hide it in a Luitian ship because of the island's proximity. It makes total sense. It's a close island. He wants to get the hell off of the Island of the Gods, get somewhere safe where he can transfer to somewhere else, which is exactly what he did. It just happened to be nearby. So it wasn't because they traced the call. They were going to do it anyway. They wanted to demonstrate their power. We're in the end game. And they wanted to demonstrate their power, and that's exactly what they did. So that is a very interesting detail. And finally, got a couple comments in 1122. These are both from Power of Death. Both Garp and Senguka, that's the axe guy, the one in charge of the Seraphims. No. Senguka is Birdhead. He was the head admiral. Never mind. I am never going to get these goddamn names straight. I swear to God. Both Garp and Birdhead retired after Marineford, but they didn't leave the Navy. Now, how the hell is that? How you retired but didn't leave the Navy? Like, that doesn't work. They basically stayed to be advisors and members to younger Navy soldiers. That's why you see Garp with those young kids. Birdhead is just chilling around other vice admirals talking about history and stuff, but not really taking actions. I love that. He's eating his chips, right? It does make, like, I guess, see, when Dad left the Navy, he went to college for 2 years and got two electronics degrees. You know, he had a major and a minor, and he got degrees in both. And he used that and his experience in the Navy to get a job at what used to be Ma Bell, and then became some big one of those big tech companies, right? When Ma Bell broke up, it broke up into like 7 or 8 pieces. He became one of those. I forget what the name of it was. It starts with a G, but I can't remember what the name of it is. But anyway, he went to one of those tech companies. And that tech company happened to have military contracts, which is why they hired him. Because He was then a civilian contractor on Navy ships. So he retired from the Navy, upped his credentials, and then went back to work for the Navy as a civilian contractor. We could be saying that here. We're not specifically talking about that because they're still wearing the uniform. Now you mentioned, well, at least Garp is. And Garp is training people. They brought him back as a civilian contractor to train the young people, I guess. That's the only way I can reconcile this. Because if your ass is retired, your ass isn't in the Navy. Like, your ass can only be retired or in the Navy, but not both. Like, you can't have both. So, I'm assuming you're retired and you're brought back as a civilian contractor. Or, I guess you could retire your commission. But I don't think you did that. I don't know. I don't know how, like, this is a different military. I used to have these arguments with Dad about Battlestar Galactica. He would say, wait, that's not what they do in the Navy. Like, first of all, that's not an ocean Navy. Second of all, it's an alternate reality. The rules could be different. They have the edges of their books cut off. The rules could be different in their Navy. He's like, no, it's all still the same. Military tradition is military tradition. I couldn't win the argument. He wouldn't hear me. He wouldn't listen to me. So maybe that's what this is here. Maybe it's just it's an alternate reality. They do things differently. We don't really understand how they do it. I don't understand how you can be retired and still be with the Navy. But I'm assuming it's something like he came back as a civilian contractor. So Garp makes sense because they brought him back as a civilian contractor to teach people at the academy. What'd they bring Birdhead back? Just to advise the vice admirals? To tell them, maybe give them political advice, strategic advice, and career advice maybe. Just kind of guide some of these young vice admirals. I guess I can see that. Both of them are so respected. I think the Navy kind of wants to keep them close. And they have enough resources that I don't think they're worried about the paycheck, right? So I guess that makes sense. All right, Power of Death also had another comment. This is a pretty long one. It's possible that the manga have a few continuity errors, and the showrunners might have caught it and not animate the errors. I'm someone who only read the manga halfway to Wano, halfway of Wano to the most recent chapter after being caught up to the anime for the first episode to middle of Wano, then switched to manga and continued the current chapter. That makes sense. I was Googling if the manga had any continuity errors. There are a few. Mr. 3, the clay boy, was seen floating in water after being defeated, but devil fruit eaters can't float. When readers pointed it out, he cheekily said he was just floating on a plank. Yeah, that's the level of continuity errors we're talking about. Like, shit that don't matter, right? Literally doesn't matter. It's not going to be that he said, Luffy's mom was dead, but then they bring her back at some point. It's not going to be that kind of a continuity error. Never. I will never believe that. And I would never forgive him if he did it. His mind is too sharp, man. In the anime, it was shown that Mr. 3 was floating on a broken door. Alright. Another very minor side character that made an appearance in Chapter 1 ended up being a character in Land of Wano. It wouldn't be possible for him to come all the way to Wano. It was some short construction dude. It was this short construction dude with nails in his nose working with Frankie. So they showed him in Chapter 1. Huh? Hey, man, maybe we got a teleporter. Maybe we have a teleport fruit. You don't know. We do know. We do know somebody has a teleport fruit. Kuma. He could have encountered Kuma, and Kuma could have sent his ass anywhere he wanted to. He could have sent his ass to Wano. That could totally happen, man. I figured that out, and I've only heard about this for 30 seconds. That could totally damn happen, man. I'm just saying. So, Kuma sent, my headcanon is Kuma sent his ass to Wano for some reason. Guess maybe he knew they needed construction there. Some of the drawings might be inaccurate, such as forgetting the scar and Shanks' flag on his ship. Yeah, I mean, we ain't worried about none of that shit. We're talking about real continuity errors. So, yeah, the man, as far as I'm concerned, he's still undefeated. It's possible that Oda accidentally left in some plot holes. See, this is what we're talking. Plot holes are what I'm really into. I'm going to nail his ass on one of these plot holes. I thought I had nailed him when it came to Hancock clone. I thought the Hancock clone, I thought I had his ass. I thought I nailed his ass to the wall, and he wriggled out of it with some bullshit. Yeah, he has some bullshit explanation. As long as she's cute, it works. You dropped the ball. I ain't going for that shit. That's the kind of shit I want to nail him on. right? It's a real ass plot hole. But later wrote something that would convert plot holes into something that makes sense. Like with the Hancock thing, the Hancock clone. Oh, no, as long as she's cute, it works. No, man, that's not what you said with Hancock. Don't make me go back and look it up. That is not what the F you said. That is a damn plot hole. Anyway, yeah, great comments by Power of Death. So, I just wanted to catch up on a few comments. Let me, close this out with the predictions. I think we're going to immediately get back into Luffy for the next episode, because they must have known maybe the manga did this too, I don't know. But I feel like they knew the hiatus was coming, and they had reached a good endpoint with Luffy, with the betrayal reveal, who the betrayer was. And then they filled in with what was probably a mini arc in the manga of all this other shit that's happening with Sabo and all this other stuff, to finish up to the point where they're going to take the hiatus. Because they didn't want to have a hiatus in the middle of Luffy doing something, right? This is a good stop point to do that hiatus. You didn't want to have a situation where he's running up the stairs at the top of the stairs as Emu, and Luffy's about to kick his ass. And then we take 6 months off. They didn't want to do that. So, well, I think now that we've had the hiatus out of our system, they're going to immediately jump back into Luffy shit. The only other possible thing is maybe we'll go back to Law for a second, see what's up there. He got away, but what is he going to do now, right? Oh, somebody, I don't remember where or who, asked me what I thought about. I meant to do this in the intro, and I don't think I ever got around to it. What did I think about Captain Crunch and Law being built up and then being dispatched easily? So I wanted to address that on camera. If I did this in the intro, I don't remember, but I remember the question. I don't remember who asked it, but I remember the question. So here's my thing. The only group that matters is Luffy and the Straw Hats. These other people are distraction or taking screen time away. Think about how much screen time Captain Crunch got in the Wano arc. And think about how much faster that arc would have been done if he hadn't existed. We need to start thinning the herd here, man. Like, if people are going to be getting screen time, they got to go. Get them out of here. So I'm really, really cool with it. And I have no problem with him being dispatched by somebody with the power of Shanks. Now, I do have a problem with observation hockey. I hate it. I hate that everybody can see the future. I hate that you can see the future to that extent. It was confusing, but more than that, it makes him unbeatable. Nobody can lay a glove on him. And I mean nobody. Like, not even Emu can handle Shanks. If he can see what had to have been at least 10 seconds in the future, maybe 15 seconds in the future. Because we saw the ships get rocked. We saw all those ships get sunk. That didn't just take 1 second. Now, maybe it wasn't 15 seconds, but there was a stretch of time there he was able to see. The other guy, Frosty Face, can only see 1 or 2 seconds in the future. Shanks can clearly see more. I hate that, man. It makes him too overpowered. So nobody can mess with him. And he ain't the only one. Like, apparently observation hockey, any of these people, you get stronger if you can do this shit. So then we're going to enter into a scenario which I've seen before. I don't remember what it was, but it's like both people can see the future, so they're just kind of like beating each other in the future. It just becomes a cluster F really fast. It's confusing, and you could have these two people just sitting there doing this, just not even really moving, look at each other, and one of them just surrenders because he can't see a future way to get out of the situation. That's not exciting, man. I don't know. That's taken to the extreme, but it's just. But what if somebody who has the same amount of observation hockey comes up against Shanks? What are we doing here? And Luffy, Blackbeard, Emu, none of these people can touch him if he can see that far into the goddamn future. So I hate it. I thought it should just be one person's brute power, and that's it. That's all you get. The fact that anybody can do it, or the most powerful people can do it, I think sucks, and I think it breaks the show. We'll see. The author can ignore it if he wants to, to not break the show, to not break the story, I should say, because he's not a show, he's a story. But if you want to not break the story, that's fine. But I don't like it. So I don't like the observation hockey. Other than that, I have no problem with them taking out Captain Crunch because this is going to happen. He was a wild card. He was immature. He wouldn't coordinate with people, wouldn't synchronize with people without bickering and bitching. I don't take orders. We're trying to synchronize a goddamn attack, you child. You know, you're going to bicker about taking orders. You're useless. I would rather not have you. Because we ain't got time to sit here and bicker about shit when we've got the train coming at us, man. We need to coordinate. We need to do it now. It doesn't matter who the hell's in charge. It doesn't matter who's saying whatever and who's receiving whatever. You can lead, but can you follow? Like, that's been the ultimate. Like, the ultimate leader can follow as well as lead. Because sometimes you have to swallow your pride and take someone else's advice to get out of a situation. Because you don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. And that's what adults learn. Children don't know that yet. And he was a child. So get his ass out of here. As far as Law goes, he went up against Blackbeard, man. Blackbeard's tough. Some bitch is tough, man. Again, and even Captain Crunch went up against Shanks. Like, they didn't go out against bitches, you know? They didn't go out against Gecko, Mario, whatever the hell that dude's name is. Gecko Meko, Soul Boy, you know? They didn't go out against him. They didn't go out against a slime bitch from, Big Mom's house. They didn't go out against Buggy. They went out against two of the baddest asses to ever walk the planet. That's what they did, right? So, you know, just saying. I think it's okay. You know, I don't mind it. I liked it. And I think it's going to give our team more screen time. It's going to contract the story that much so we can get to the damn end before we're all 85 years old. So, including the damn author. Let's wrap this shit up, man. Jesus. All right, well, as far as predictions goes, like I said, I think we're going to get Luffy first. And it seems like now that Vegapunk's been identified, the OG, we know where he is. Now, collecting him probably is going to happen pretty soon. Because I actually don't think the Eggland arc is going to last that much longer. I think we're moving on to bigger and better things. Unless the last Ponegriff is here at this island, which I don't think it is. But if it's, we got to move on to wherever that is. I think that's going to be the next destination. So I think we're going to get off this island. We're going to learn a bunch of more shit from Vegapunk. And I think that's going to happen within the next 40, 50 episodes. So before 1200, we'll be off this island. We'll be into a new story arc. That's my prediction. But we'll see what the hell happens. Meantime, I'm going to go watch the next episode now, finally.